All right, Reaction Monday live. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. It is S&L. We just got back from NRG. DeMeco Ryan spoke. We'll hear what he had to say. Kind of more of the same for the Texans. The Texans with another opportunity to beat a good team, another opportunity to put a competent offense out there, and a missed opportunity with Jacksonville approaching. And despite CJ Stroud's uncertainty, and I don't anticipate he's going to play Sunday, the Texans are actually favored against the Jags. So the 5-5 goal, the good news, 5-5, which we laid out after they started 0-3, is still alive. But there's plenty to talk about with what went down yesterday at NRG.
Yeah, the hope when you talked about the 5-5 was it was going to feel a little bit better, but instead, after yesterday's game, it felt like what you don't want it to feel like at the end of a game, which is S-O-T. Same old Texans. Same old Texans at the end of that one. Golly, just the ineptitude that this team showcases from an offensive standpoint, what they are incapable of doing that we watch across the National Football League game after game after game. They make offense look so damn hard to operate. Starting quarterback, backup quarterback, doesn't matter who's on the field. They make it look so hard. And that was something that we bitched and moaned about with Bobby Slowick last year, and it's still the case this year with Nick Caley and everybody that he's in charge of on the offensive side.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. First of all, our biggest fears kind of played out. And my fear was, okay, now that Christian Kirk is back, does that mean that Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll are non-factors? That's what we said throughout the week. That was my biggest fear. Can you implement these guys? That was the question that I asked Nick Caley. How do these guys blend in? And I'll be damned, Jalen Knoll plays less on offense than every single player except fullback British Brooks. Mm-hmm. Literally every offensive player who put on a uniform yesterday, skill position, played more snaps than Jalen Knoll. He was not a factor. Jaden Higgins, he had one target at the end of the game, which we'll get into a little bit later on. So this fear, it kind of played out. And then you look at what happened once again. They get to the 2, they get to the 1, they can't score. Nope. So it was more the same. And the QB sneak, they ran it from the 3-yard line, which was really weird with Davis Mills. But with CJ Stroud, who they've been perfect running it with, they wait till 4th down. DeMeco said that they got in. I don't know that I saw it that way, but whatever. But that makes it even more crazy. They wait till 4th down to run the play that they've been perfect on this year. It's unbelievable. I think Nick Caley is cowardly. I think he's scared. I think whenever he faces a good defense and he needs 1 yard, I think he's completely scared of running the QB sneak until it's a last-ditch effort. For me, it's very simple. You get down to the 1-yard line, 4 QB sneaks. Very simple. You've been perfect at it. 4 QB sneaks. There's been 3 losses now where he has been scared to run a QB sneak. Tampa Bay, Seattle, and now Denver. 3 good teams. Every other week, he's fine running it, and he did not run it. I think Nick Caley at this point he's just not there, man. It's just not there. And I think it's easy to blame Nick Caley. I don't think DeMeco should go anywhere. I think DeMeco should have a right to kind of evolve. But I will say DeMeco is alive and well. DeMeco without the O, because it's proportional. And I thought it was interesting that DeMeco Ryan said it wasn't apples to apples. It's pretty close to apples today when I asked him, because if you look at what happened last year on day 2 of the draft, the Texans at 42 in the 2nd round, they took Kamari Lassiter. Immediate starter, immediate impact. You make a case he's playing better than Stingley this year. Mm-hmm. You make a case. Then at 78, they take Kalen Bullock. Immediate starter, hell of a rookie season, hell of a play yesterday, solid starter. This year, offense, Jaden Higgins, 8 picks earlier than you took Kamari Lassiter. Jalen Knoll, 1 pick later, 79, than you took Kalen Bullock. And for whatever reason, those guys are not immediately producing. We can say it's coaching. We can say it's evaluating. We can say whatever we want to say. But despite the fact that we've seen those guys, there is a huge gap between how DeMeco runs defense and how DeMeco's football teams run offense. And right now, that's their biggest problem. That's going to be the biggest. That's going to be the biggest problem that DeMeco Ryans is going to have to overcome. In the short term, in the long term, that's going to be his biggest challenge. That was the reservation with a lot of people for bringing in a defensive-minded head coach was, well, he's not going to be able to help CJ Stroud, your quarterback, and he's not going to be able to, or whoever you ended up selecting, number 2 overall, and he's not going to be able to focus on the offense. That's playing out right now. And that's going to be the thing. That's going to be DeMeco Ryan's biggest challenge, and something that he's going to have to figure out, whether it's the evaluating, whether it's the coaching, whatever it is, they got to figure it out. And I don't think it's apples to apples to compare the impact you got from the guys on the defensive side of the rock last year to the impact that you're getting from these guys on the offensive side of the rock, regardless of the why.
Or really the lack of impact, because they won't put them on the field. That's the biggest thing. It's the lack of impact. Nobody had more explosive catches the previous 2 games than Jalen Noel, and they didn't throw him the football this week. You know who the Broncos threw the football to in key moments? Rookies and second-year receivers. They threw the ball to Troy Franklin 9 times. They threw the ball to R.J. Harvey out of the backfield. They threw the ball to Pat Bryant on a key third down that they had to have, the rookie wide receiver out of the slot. Sean Payton, in his infinite offensive wisdom, trusts young guys, and the Houston Texans, for some reason, won't trust their young guys, won't put them on the football field. And if they're not capable of running this part of the playbook, run the part of the playbook they are capable of running. Oh, well, they're not good blockers. Okay, don't ask them to block. Like, put them on the field and move the football. Nobody else is moving the football for you. Christian Kirk's playing the worst football of his career, and you're putting him on the football field. No one's moving the football. These guys move the ball, and they won't put them on the field. It's mind-numbingly dumb to not put the players on the field.
And I asked DeMeco about it, and this wasn't originally where we're going to start, but this is just me asking DeMeco Ryan's like, what's the deal? And you know how DeMeco is, but I think even in his little, I don't know how to describe it. I'll let y'all describe it in the chat. Describe this answer in the chat. He still kind of tells on himself as to what the situation is, whether he knows it or not.
Kalen and Kamari had good games yesterday. You immediately trusted them, and they've been consistently impacting the game. What's stopping Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins from doing that early in their career?
You're talking about, 4 completely different guys. I don't think you can there's not apples to apples as you compare those guys. But all our young guys have done a really good job. They're all growing, developing, doing the things that we asked them to do. I think Jay Noel and Jay Higgins have done a really good job of the things we've asked them to do.
Well, then you're not asking them to do enough, because look, 2nd round pick, immediate production, 2nd round pick, up and down, 3rd round pick, immediate production, 3rd round pick, up and down. And it's proportional to everything that happens from defense to offense. Like it's proportional. So there is a trend there. By the way, Reaction Monday is presented by the greatness that is TDECU. You can get your Texans debit card, get that 15% off. More and more people are doing it. You go to TDECU.org/Texans, get that pretty debit card like Cody Stutes did, and like CJ Stroud does, and you can be riding around in style. And that's not all. They got a hell of a lot of offers as well. So shout out to the greatness that is TDECU for sponsoring Reaction Monday and doing everything they do in the Houston community.
Tons of perks. Took me less than 20 minutes in and out to get mine in one of the 15 greater Houston area locations. So check them out, and insured by the NCUA. Membership required at TDECU.
Yeah, and I think this whole thing, it's deeper than just the rookies. It's the offense and the defense.
Well, and that's the other element of it too is he doesn't have the ability to go babysit the offense and fix it and make it better. Like, it's not like he cannot go over there and affect change on the offense to the level where he hasn't to this point, I guess maybe I should say. He hasn't gone and affected change on the offense to where they need to be. I mean, they're still doing some of the same old dumb stuff that loses them football games, puts them in bad positions, and puts them in a position where if the defense doesn't play absolute perfect defense, they're going to lose the football game. So DeMeco Ryans, and again, a couple weeks ago, hey, blame me. Okay, well, you've got to affect some change on the offense. You've got to go over there, and if you have to babysit them, if you have to make suggestions, if you have to make recommendations, you have to be part of it. Or if he's already done that and they still haven't fixed it, then he's a big part of the issue as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he is, and I think it's something that he's going to have to figure out. It is Reaction Monday. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. Let's go to the chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Timothy C says, if we don't do none this offseason, extend Laster, please. Not even allowed. Not even allowed to. You got to wait another year. You got to be. You got to be in the league 3 years before you get an extension, my friend.
Correct.
James R says,
this is the Miami offensive tackle.
okay, so he's already talking tackles. Pronounce that name for me.
I believe it's Mauiaga.
All right, there you go. I would have definitely never gotten that.
It's worth noting they won't get him. He's too good, and they're not going to be top of the first round, so they won't get him. So look at this.
Yeah, Tazewell said he wanted to maximize this. So Tazewell has the picture. I saw Tazewell at Spanky. Shout out to everyone who came out to Spanky's. We'll get something planned here a little bit later on. But yes, he's got your picture.
That's incredible. Great job, Tazewell.
Pathetic, piss poor performance by the offense. Even if they get 5-5, I have no faith they will make the playoffs. If they do, it'll be a first round elimination Saturday at 3:30. They might avoid the Saturday at 3:30 if they're not the division winner. So we might have some history there with the Texans. Yeah, there's no ceiling with this team right now. Like, that's the reality of the situation. There's no ceiling with this team. Even if they get to 5-5, even if they scratch and claw, even if the defense carries them, there's really no ceiling. And when you have what you have at offensive coordinator right now with Nick Caley, it's impossible to really expect to make a run and to flip the switch.
Yeah, they're just pathetic on offense. They can't do anything.
Chase says week to week remains true with QB sneaks. I hope they don't buy at the deadline. On the plus side, John Carroll 7-1 go blind streaks. Oh man,
I'm gonna have to change from
too good of a record. They're gonna have a new offensive staff next year. It's gonna be all the John Carroll guys.
Blue streak football coming your way soon.
Texas Eric asks, is it harder to evaluate offensive talent than defensive talent? I mean, if you're a defensive minded coach, I would imagine it's probably a little bit more difficult. If your offensive coaches aren't as good as your defensive coaches, which DeMeco's a really good defensive coach, then it's probably harder to evaluate those guys. And Nick Caserio has proven he damn sure can't evaluate offensive linemen. So in this situation, the answer is yes.
They've done a really bad job evaluating guys that are already in the league from an offensive line standpoint. And they've done a really bad job evaluating guys who are potential or who are rookies or who are going to be rookies from the offensive line standpoint. So they've done a really bad job from that. Whoever done a really bad job.
So someone just asked this on the chat, and this is kind of what's breaking down in conversation, which is always dangerous when you look at the chat. But this was the next thing on the thing. I want to talk about life with Davis Mills versus life with CJ Stroud.
Okay.
And I said this yesterday, and I think some people took exception with it because a lot of people want to ride and die with the quarterback, which is fine. I'm not here to tell you that Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud. I don't think anyone in their right mind would say that. But I do think we need to acknowledge that the offense is the same with Davis Mills and with CJ Stroud. And I think yesterday was a mirror image of that, where you got to the 1 with Stroud, you didn't score. You got to the 2 with Mills, you didn't score. Last week with Stroud at the end of the first half, you just completely wet the bed and were awkwardly aggressive with no consequence. And you ended up giving the 49ers what could have been an opportunity had the guy not made the mistake. This week with Davis Mills, you do the same thing, except it's a little bit more costly, and you end up losing a game as a result. Protection, not great. Communication, not great. Creativity, not there. Weapons, confusing usage, there. So it's almost defending CJ Stroud to say that it looks kind of the same. Obviously, you'd rather have CJ Stroud, but let's not act like CJ Stroud has just gone out there and set the world on fire. They failed to score from the 1 yard line. You can say, oh, he got off to a good start. They failed to score from the 1 yard line. Davis Mills missed some throws high. What has CJ Stroud been doing all season? Like, it's not, it's the issues that they have on offense are deeper than who plays quarterback. And that's my point when I say it's very similar with CJ and with Davis Mills. They have these same issues, same problems.
Yeah, except Davis can't operate at the same a level that CJ does. He operated the offense at a poorer level than CJ operated the offense. He was, for a guy that they've bent over backwards and paid a lot of money to keep to be the backup quarterback, he was very unimpressive in his opportunity. And I get that it's one of the best defenses in football and one of the best defensive coordinators in football over there. I certainly understand that, but the stuff that the quarterback's in control of, which we're often critical with CJ, the stuff that Davis Mills was in control of, he did not do a very good job. And then the offensive coordinator put him in a horrible spot, put him in a horrible position. You saw it with Denver. This wasn't working. Sean Payton eventually figured something out. Like, he schemed it up. He found the way, got guys out there in the space. And Nick Caley just, this is what we do. This is the game plan we have for this week. Don't get out of the box, Davis. I can't get Woody in space for you. I can't put Jalen Nola on the field. We didn't practice that. I can't do that for you, Davis. Sorry. It's like if you went to the sandwich shop and you're like, can I get a salami sandwich? Like, yeah, we don't have any sliced salami. Well, you got a thing of salami right there and you got a slicer right there. We didn't prep to have sliced salami. I can't make you a salami sandwich.
It's National Sandwich Day too, by the way.
How about that?
It's
in my DNA.
J. Rob says the offense is not the same, you idiot. He says the big difference is that CJ Stroud can move the ball down the field. He can what? I mean, I don't know that that's been a consistent thing this year. We've seen it a couple times with Noel here or there, and we saw the Nico pass. I don't know that that's. I feel like we're rewriting what the offense looked like with CJ Stroud in a big way. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, they can't score touchdowns. They settle for field goals too. So like whether it's Davis Mills or CJ Stroud, that's been something that they've been doing.
Yeah, all the hallmarks of that awful offense that we've watched for the better part of 8 football games, all the hallmarks of that awful offense were there with Davis Mills under center.
Yeah, and Jeremiah Daniel, I think he's got Stroud dong in his ear. He says, did Landry say we're better off with Mills? That's a joke. At least CJ could potentially pick up a third down. I didn't say that. Like, I made it clear that wasn't the case. I just said the offensive issues are the same. They're very similar. You settle for 3. You can't put it in from the 2 or 1 yard line. Get it out. You'll be all right. Just pull it out of your ear. You'll be all right. You'll be able to see, or it might be eyes, and ears. But yeah, that's all I'm saying is that the offense they got problems. They got problems beyond the quarterback.
And to not have a counter punch to Denver's adjustment to Davis Mills. I mean, I'm not shocked by it that Nick Caley hasn't shown the ability to throw a first punch, much less have a counter punch. But Denver just, by the second half, they had Mills in the situation for the Texans totally figured out, and they were not moving the football at all.
Yes. It's not great. It's not great either way. I do find this interesting that the money is the Texans are still favored with Mills. Like, it's not like the line completely flipped with Stroud out. Like, the Texans open as a 1.5 point favorite, which is probably close to what you would think they would be with Stroud. I mean, I find that very interesting. We're coming off a week where a cornerback flipped at 3, and with Davis Mills, the Texans are still favored against the Jags. I don't know if that's.
I mean, my thought would be that they'd be favored by more if Stroud was playing.
So 4.
I don't know if it's that much, but they'd be favored by more. I mean, the Jaguars had to survive a 2-point conversion against the Raiders to win yesterday. Yeah, it's not like I mean, that line says as much about Jacksonville as it does about Houston.
You could be right.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Nathan Palmer says the QB sneak by Mills was so bad I laughed my ass off. Yeah, I actually thought they got a bad spot there. I thought Nico reached it to the 1. That's what I thought. I thought he was close to the 1.
I agree.
And I don't know if the Texans thought that that's where it was, and then they just didn't realize it. But the whole process was a little bit awkward. But I actually thought that spot perhaps should have been to the 1 because Nico reached, and they ended up putting him at the 3.
I don't know why they had the no huddle into it
with the quarterback with the back.
I don't know why when. There's just so much shit that went wrong on this entire thing. Like, Nico doesn't get in the end zone. And, like, I just thought to myself, my God, it's going to happen again. Sure enough, it did. But, like, dude, Davis Mills, you've played a lot of football. Like, it's not like Davis it's not like Davis is Graham Mertz and he had never played. Like, dude, you started for a whole year. They gave you a chance to be the quarterback, and now you're the backup. Like, they think highly of you. You didn't sit there and look at where the ball was spotted and be like, shit, I don't know if we should run this. Like, or did he think he was Josh Allen and was going to get in from the 2? You know who doesn't run it from the 2 like that? The Bills, when they have Josh actually Allen. And so then, you're Nick Caley and they spotted at the 2. Why did you hurry up? Like you're going to, those 5 guys that couldn't move Denver earlier, they're going to move them now. They're going to go out there and move them now.
The craziest thing about this, and I just think it's crazy how all of a sudden CJ Stroud was running like an awesome, like really effective offense when he gets hurt. I think it just got to like open your eyes and see what we've been seeing and what we've been talking about all year. I think that it's just kind of crazy because I think the difference in this game, because let's also take a step back from the Texans and let's like look across at the other sidelines. Bo Nix sucked. He was terrible. They were just throwing it long the whole time. He was missing open receivers. Sometimes he wasn't even looking at the open receivers. He wasn't running until he actually had an opportunity to win the game at the end. Bo Nix sucked.
They had him scared and seeing ghosts in the pocket. He was rolling out and breaking totally safe pockets and trying to throw back across his body into the middle of the field. Like, Bo Nix was terrible yesterday.
But you know what the difference was? The difference was Sean Payton put him in position to where he could suck and they could win. The Texans basically asked Davis Mills to kind of do the same thing that they asked CJ Stroud to do. Like, there was no adjustment. There was no tweaking. There was really nothing different.
Oh, yeah. And there was tweaking. There was me in the press box tweaking as I had to watch that offense again.
But the other thing is this, like, so I always like when you get like a proportional point of view of someone in a different situation, like in a different yet similar situation. It's kind of how you like when you localize like other teams and stuff. So they have a rookie running back and he's good at catching the ball. Imagine that. Like, can you imagine like you have a rookie running back who's really good at catching the football?
It's a novel concept.
Yes. There's creativity to get him the ball. There are designed plays where the goal is to just throw him the ball. And maybe that keeps the defense a little honest to where they pay attention to him, to where if you throw it down the field to Ingram or you throw it down the field to Sutton, like you can maybe kind of set that up. But there's a clear effort. And what have I said about Woody Marks? 5 catches a game. No matter how it happens, 5 catches a game. Woody Marks is just basically a guy, if they throw to him, it's because no one else is open. Like, despite the fact he's one of the most accomplished receiving running backs in the history of college football, like in recent history of college football, despite the fact he's kind of shown, like, it was really telling last week, Cody. And this is why I like that we can look at the wins and kind of like get signs of of why it's not necessarily sustainable, because we talked about the end of the first half last week against San Francisco. It was pathetic. Like, we did not ignore that just because they won. We said that was troubling because they have no feel. This was the quote from me to you in the press box as it was going on, and to you people, and I do mean you people in the chat. Y'all heard me say it. They have no feel of when to be aggressive at the end of halves. They have no feel. Cost them the game this week, arguably. Like, it eliminated any chance of overtime. Cost them a game this week. So we saw that. Woody Marks had a 50-yard reception last week, and he finished with 49 yards receiving. He's literally a last-ditch effort when it comes to getting him the ball. And the only reason he got that 50-yard reception is because C.J. Stroud went through his progressions and he swung it to him. It wasn't designed. Mm-hmm. That is the difference between a Sean Payton or a competent offensive coordinator running an offense and the Texans. Woody Marks yesterday had 3 targets. I think 2 of them were at his feet. I think 2 of them were just at his feet and not even catchable balls with Davis Mills trying to avoid sacks. It might have been all 3. Like, literally, Woody Marks is basically the foot throw guy. He's basically just the guy when you're about to get sacked, you throw it at his feet. That's his role in the offense as a receiver. Notice how with Harvey, they threw him a couple design swing passes, and then that game-tying touchdown where they had to get the 2-point conversion. They throw him the wheel route, and he just burns Henry To'oTo'o.
Yeah. Well,
because they actually put effort into getting the ball into their playmakers' hands.
Wait, not only did they throw the ball to their rookie pass catcher running back, but they found a really bad matchup for the defense in the process. I thought we talked about it Friday. That Singleton cat for the Broncos has allowed the most receiving yards on their entire team. Did they force him into coverage at any point yesterday? Like, he was certainly not throwing the ball to Woody. Like, that was just awful, man. Like, awful. And that RJ Harvey thing and the touchdown, like, that comes late after a bunch of stuff hasn't worked. And Sean Payton just keeps digging in his bag to try to find something that's going to work. And Nick Caley's just like, yeah, no, do the same thing we just did. Do it again. Yeah,
like you have a running back that is a good receiver, and there's no extra effort to get him the ball. He's just basically there. And then you have a guy who, and by the way, we'll get to the big moments. We'll get to the kings of the turf. We'll get to where credit is due in a second because it is Reaction Monday. But this is just kind of the direction that things have gone. By the way, shout out to TDECU. Greatness that is. TDECU.org/Texans. Membership required and insured by NCUA. Get that awesome Texans debit card. Mm-hmm. But here's the other thing that I don't get. He doesn't even return kicks anymore. Like, when you have a bad offense, you could be a kick return away from completely changing the game. Like, that they don't even, like, he plays the fewest amount of offensive snaps. He's back to punt returning because they realized that was stupid. By the way, we saw him do his thing yesterday and set them up not once, could have easily been twice with the punt return. That was weird. And now Braxton Berrios returns kicks, and Jalen Knoll. Like, I'm honestly asking Frank Ross, and I'm doing this with a straight face. I don't want you laughing when I do it, but I'm seriously asking him on Thursday. Hey, is Jalen Knoll's conditioning okay? Because why can he not return punts and kicks? I'm doing that with a serious question, and I know it's not Frank Ross's choice. I've gathered that information. Frank Ross doesn't even get to choose who returns kicks anymore. But why does Braxton Berrios need to return kicks? Like, this kid's explosive. He's fast. Like, one kick return could completely change that game. Like, with the margin of error that they play with and how handcuffed they are on offense, putting your fastest, probably best playmaker with the ball in his hands, putting the ball in his hands as many times as possible would probably benefit you. But it's not just offense, Cody. He's not even returning kicks anymore. Explain that to me.
Yeah. How I have the answer? I definitely don't have the answer. The guy's got more dynamic plays in the past 2 weeks than just about anybody, and they can't put him on the field for offense. If he showcases it on special teams, they're damn sure not going to use him as much as they can. That's the other thing. If he was returning every kick and every punt, maybe I'd understand a slightly smaller workload, but 11 snaps, 12 snaps, whatever it was on offense, my God, just awful.
What do Jared Wayne and Braxton Berrios have in common?
Nobody wants to watch them play football for the Texans?
On their first day of being activated on an actual game, they both played more offensive snaps than Jalen Knoll. That one really hurts you.
You know, it's just, damn it. It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid.
It's crazy. By the way, Reaction Monday is presented by TDECU. We'll get to the landlocked key moments in a second. First, though, go to TDECU.org. Get that Texans debit card. Let's go through the key moments of this one. Let's relive it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We'll get to the comments in a second. And I want to start with the back and forth with field goals. So the Texans missed their early field goal attempt.
Wasn't even freaking close.
51-yarder, and then Denver drives down, and another key moment, DeMeco Autry, who, by the way, he can block kicks. I think he's 17 now. He blocks a kick, and it's basically
Careful, you're gonna get your snaps cut playing that well.
it's basically no harm, no foul. He's good. So 2 opportunities for field goals, basically a wipe away, a wash. And then the Texans get the ball. Now, this was bittersweet because you had Dalton Schultz, who'd been grinding, playing hurt, 47-yard reception with a little bit of speed. And I say little bit, as in, yes, little bit of speed, to get 47 yards.
Well, he's got a knee injury. Give him a break here. Okay.
Then a defensive holding, which takes the Texans to first down. And then Nick Chubb, I don't know if he pushed the wrong button on the controller or what, but he jumps up, and it almost looks like, I don't know if he got like a cramp or something, but like he jumped up, and it was definitely not Herschel Walker. I'll put it that way. I don't know what he was trying to do there, but it was very awkward. And the Texans, they end up failing to score from the 1-yard line, and they have to settle for a field goal from the 1.
One of the best defensive fronts in all of football. A defensive front that you can argue is a better and more consistent defensive front than the Seattle Seahawks from a couple of weeks ago, when the Texans could not get 1 yard on 3rd and short and 4th and short. And they decide to just smash into the Great Wall of Denver. Like, I was just blown away by that decision-making.
Yes, I was too. But they end up taking the 3-point lead. Then the defense clearly there to play. Danielle Hunter with a 3rd down pass deflection. We saw that. And then this is the big moment of the game where CJ Stroud leaves the game. 3rd and 8, Stroud gets absolutely lit up. And at that point, you're just wondering, like, how bad is this going to be? What's going to go on? What did you make of the hit? DeMeco Ryans has had some interesting things to say about what he thought happened and all that. What was your biggest takeaway from CJ Stroud leaving with a concussion?
Yeah, it should have been a play that was flagged. I feel like every time a quarterback gets hit during a slide, it should be flagged. I mean, that's what we have watched for the past few years with this slide rule in effect. It should have been flagged. And I don't know what replay assist is allowed to come in and fix and what it's not allowed to come in and fix. Apparently, it's allowed to come in and fix that because they determined that while there was no head or neck contact, it was an allowable time to strike the quarterback, even though he seemed to be in the slide. Wasn't the best slide we've ever seen by any means, but that should have been a hit that was flagged, and the flag should have stayed, especially after they threw it in the moment.
Yeah, it was a terrible slide, if we're being honest. And I know that's something that CJ's kind of struggled with. But, yeah, I mean, in the NFL, that's typically a flag. I do like how DeMeco has completely changed his philosophy on it from last year. But it's definitely he has. I mean, he's acting like the Lawrence and Stroud were completely identical. I think both of them deserve to be flagged, but I don't think they were the same, to say the very least. It was definitely a rough slide. My biggest fear for this, from like a long-term POV, is I hope CJ's not even more scared to run now, because I think it's a good part of his game that he's good at. And I hope either this helps him like find a way to protect himself a little bit better, or kind of just go about business as usual, because I don't want him to stop running.
I mean, they can't afford to have him stop running. It's one of the only ways they can move the freaking football.
Yes, that's my thing. But it did. The philosophy has completely changed with DeMeco. Then you had, and I thought this was a great response. I thought this was a good feel by Kalen Bullock. So as soon as your quarterback goes down, you feel kind of helpless, and you look up. It looked like the receiver was open. Bo Nix might have put too much air on it. But I will also say Kalen Bullock closed that out like a mofo. That was some ball hawk type stuff from Kalen Bullock. So I think it's a combination of both, but a much needed interception, as it was kind of a doom and gloom feel by Kalen Bullock. Easily his best play of the year. I thought it kind of gave the Texans some much needed life at a time where it was a little bit doom and gloom around the stadium.
Yeah, the defense comes up big. It not only creates energy, but gets you the football. I mean, they could have created energy by forcing a 3-and-out, but to get the football and to get it at midfield like they did is a really great job by Bullock. And my goodness, what a play by him. He saw it and closed on it. It felt similar to Stingley against Denver a couple of years ago, where like he saw it and he closed a tremendous amount of ground. Bullock did the same thing, went and got it, and it was a great job by him.
Yeah, almost like a bait, but I don't know that this was a bait. It was just a hell of a play by Bullock, and it led to points. The Texans get to get the ball to Mills. Mills throws an absolute dart to Nico Collins.
What a throw. I'm glad they definitely ran that play again later in the game.
Oh, that stopped. But an absolute dart to Nico Collins. Then Nick Chubb moves the chains 8 and then moves the chains on the next play. Then a Nico slant to the it should have been the 1. I put it in my notes as the 1 yard line. They ended up spotting it at 3. Nico reached to the 1 and they had it at the 3. Then they run the most awkward ass QB sneak ever from the 3. Then they decide that they're going to run a sweep with Nico Collins, little
pop pass.
Then Woody Marks gets banged up. He goes to the 1. And then
well, hold on. They got a holding on the pop pass.
Yes, the pop pass holding. Yes. The pop pass holding. And then
so they got second down and 12 yards out. Now they had just got 36 yards through the air, throwing the ball to Nico Collins. So on 2nd and 12, and what do we hear every freaking week about? Don't get behind the sticks. Don't get behind. So what do they do on 2nd and 12? They run the ball up the middle into the teeth of this defense that they haven't run the football against successfully yet, and put themselves in 3rd and 11.
Yeah, and then they decide Davis Mills is going to get sacked, and they end up taking a 6-0 lead. But yeah, this was weird because I thought it should have been at the 1. The QB sneak was awkward. Quite frankly, I would have kept doing that. I would have just kept running the QB sneak anyways. 4 times is always my philosophy. But then the Broncos take the lead, and this one was where you kind of felt like Champagne saw something because they had the wide ass open pass to Troutman for 20, like right in the middle of the field for 20. Then you
even leaned over to me and you said, Peyton sees something.
Yeah. And then they moved the chains with Harvey for 4. Then 3rd and 6, wide ass open pass to that number 83 honky, who we'll hear from a little bit in a sec. And then an absolute should have been touchdown to Evan Ingram that Bo Nix misses, but they go right back in the same area of the field, and Cortland Sutton gets the best of Derek Stingley for Denver to take a 7-6 lead.
Yeah, I think that was the only reception Stingley allowed all day, but it was right there. And you watch it, and I think DJ Bannerman talked about this, perhaps based on Stingley's reaction at the moment, there's perhaps an expectation that there was help over the top, and then he tried to play catch up. I don't know. I don't know the call. They're not going to say anything over there to explain it. Maybe Stingley would explain it. We have a conversation with him, but if that's the only pass you allow all day, look, their number 1 guy is going to get your guy sometimes, you know.
Then the Texans, they actually respond quite nicely. Collins gets lit the hell up, but he holds on to the ball and gets the extra 15 yards. Then you have Christian Kirk. He moves the chains or he gets 5 yards. He doesn't move the chains. Dalton Schultz moves the chains. Then you had a near interception that was intended for Woody Marks. Denver dropped it.
Hold on. I think that Dalton Schultz first down is a key moment. That was the last first down they got on 3rd down for the rest of the game.
Yes, it was.
That was the last first down. They finished 3 for 17. That was the last first down they got on third down for the rest of the game with 2 minutes left in the second quarter.
Then you had Nico Collins, 3rd and 9. He gets 8 yards, and on 4th and 1, they kicked the field goal to go up 9-7. I said it before. I'll say it after. I have no issue with them settling for the field goal on 4th and 1, given what we'd seen earlier in the game where they couldn't score from the 1 and they couldn't score from the 2. I have no problem leaning on your defense. Now, here's where my problem is, and this is where my problem lies. And we'll get to the chat, and then we'll continue the second half. We get a couple 3 and outs after that, and then or we get 1 3 and out, and then we get another questionable decision by the Texans. And this is actually connected to this thought. So this is the problem that I have with the Texans. They have no feel. They have no feel. And this isn't like a revisionist history. I know DeMeco likes to simplify it. DeMeco's simple until he's not simple. Like when it benefits him, it's not simple, but when it does benefit him, he's very simple, if you haven't noticed. But my problem with this is I have no problem kicking the field goal on 4th and 1. I think you should be conservative on offense because your offense isn't good. Then at the end of halves, you should not be in a hurry to score. So you just settle for the lead. And then at the end of the half, with the Texans' 6th drive, Titus Howard leaves with a concussion. And then you have a couple of incomplete passes, and the Texans end up punting with 46 seconds left instead of just taking it to the house. You could have easily taken it to the house. Now, they got bailed out because, as you pointed out, Marvin Mims was the only Bronco to return a punt before this game. The number 83 Honky, he fumbles the ball, and the Texans end up actually taking a 12-7 lead into the half. But this is my problem, and it's going to reappear at the end of this game. I have no problem kicking field goals on 4th and 1. I agree. But if you don't even trust your offense to get a yard, why are you trusting them to score with 50 seconds left and go like 60 yards? What's going on? They got bailed out, but like what's going on? There's just it's just completely.
So you're saying if they can't get a yard on the Denver 20, why would you think that they're going to all of a sudden move the ball 40 yards into field goal range at the end of half?
We've seen them on 3 of the last 4 halves that we've witnessed. No, 2 of the last 3. No, 3 of the last 3. Good God. 3 of the last 3. The last 3 halves that we've watched the end of, or 3 out of 4, excuse me. All right, I promise. Final answer.
Okay, so reset here. What are we talking about? Run me through this again.
On 3 of the 4 last halves of football that we've watched with the Texans, they've shown that they have no grasp of reality when it comes to their offense. Last week against San Francisco, you decide that you're going to try to be aggressive when you have a 16-7 lead. You throw an interception. If the dude would have gone out of bounds right there, they could have kicked a field goal and they could have been down 6 points at half. Instead, he tries to be a hero. I literally looked over to you and said, what the hell are they trying to do? I sit by you. I said, what the hell? Why the hell are they being aggressive here? Didn't make sense. Okay. Then we go to the first half of this game. They decide they're going to kick a field goal on 4th and 1, but then for whatever reason, they decide they're going to be aggressive at the end of the first half. They punt the ball to Denver with 46 seconds left. Fortunately for them, this guy wasn't used to catching punts this year. He muffs it. But I'm not going to ignore the foolishness that it was, despite the fact they got a break when they punted.
Not to mention, it was 3 pass plays.
Yes.
They didn't even try to force Denver to use that final timeout.
Yes. And then at the end of the game, we saw what we saw. Take it to overtime, man. Like, take it to overtime or stay in bounds or run the ball once. Like,
make them use the timeouts.
Yeah. Like, it was like that was so 3 of the last 4 halves. Final answer. They have completely struggled and shown how little of a feel they have of reality. And this isn't the, oh, well, if we do this, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not that. Like, it's me looking over to you and saying it like in the moment, what are y'all doing? And it's also y'all's actions, which y'all showed what you think of your offense with the 4th and 1. Kick the field goal, which I thought was a good decision. So that's another issue all in itself. We'll get to the second half in a sec. It is Reaction Monday, presented by the greatness of TDECU. Tell them where to go, Cody.
TDECU.org/Texans is where you can find out everything you need to know about that beautiful Houston Texans debit card from our friends at TDECU. Find out about all the other perks that TDECU has for you as well. When you put your money with them, it reacts differently than the typical places that you put your money. As a credit union, they offer perks and benefits that many places can't. Now, membership's required, and they're insured by the NCUA. But, man, 15 greater Houston area locations. You get it started right there on the website. You just have to be a resident in the state of Texas to get you a TDECU account opened and get you that wonderful TDECU Texans debit card. You can find out more at TDECU.org/Texans.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
All right, DeRhino says, I was going to ask y'all if y'all think no moves are made by Tuesday. Have they given up? But hell, they don't do anything with the people they already have. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be aggressive on the trade deadline. I don't think so.
I don't anticipate them being aggressive either.
James R. said, does anybody know Caley's address so I can egg it? No, I would not dox Nick Caley. And I don't think you can get away with egging or toilet papering houses anymore like you used to. The Ring doorbell has kind of ruined the fun for everyone.
Yeah, they get
Paulie Young says, I'm already looking at our draft position, top 10 pick and no tight end in sight, Cody. UCLA, some good O-line prospects. Let's get some hogs on that line.
Look, if they end up in the top 10, they're going to have a crack at somebody that's a pretty good offensive lineman. But should Nick Caserio be the guy that drafts that? That's a conversation for January at the earliest, I would think. Maybe December.
Kevin Schuler says 2025 NRG vibe is ass. I'm embarrassed every game. What do you mean? There were a lot of Astros fans in the stands yesterday. Did you not see all that orange? There are tons of Astros fans there. Houston sports fans showed out yesterday. That's how you show your loyalty. The day after the World Series with the Astros not in, you wear your Astros gear to support them at the Texans game. There were plenty of Astros and Houston sports fans in those stands. Beepster 2792 says first goal a Chubby and a Woody and can't get it in.
Yeah, they didn't use Woody Marks on the goal line. I mean, and could you have done a fullback play action and then dumped it to Woody Marks when they're diving everybody into the middle? Nah, you got to go try to be macho men and move the line of scrimmage against the best front seven in football.
This was an old one. I think Nick was getting a little crazy, but I'll read it anyways. I'm an equal opportunity guy. He says, Landry on here coping and getting defensive because he was calling for Mills to be put in before, and it turns out Mills is trash. We lose to the 49ers and Rams with Mills, I bet. They definitely lose to the Rams with Mills. Like, there's no disputing that. Rams, not sure. Why is it that, like, all the dick pieces say cope and you don't know ball? Like, I think Nick said both those in the chat. Like, that is like the number one dick piece line is cope and you don't know ball. It's kind of happened. But I didn't want to see Mills because I thought he was good. I just wanted to see what the offense looked like. It confirmed. It's the same. It's the same. Same issues. Patrick says Sting likes dropping pickable balls, all pro corner, but absolutely not a receiver. He has the best hands on the team, maybe. I don't know why he drops some of these balls that he does and makes the plays that he does. But if you watch Derek Stingley warm up before practice, he can literally catch the ball with one hand going down like that. So it is one of the fine mysteries, some of the plays that he does and does not make, but he definitely has good hands. He might have the best hands on the team.
Yeah, had one hit him in the hands yesterday. Didn't catch
Oh, yeah,
it.
top 5 arm too.
Yeah, probably. He might need to be the third quarterback ahead of Mertz.
Yeah, well. Dom in Jersey says, I can't believe out of all things that need to be addressed, they extended Jake Hansen today. Caserio sucks. Christian Kirk is dog bleep too, and I hate everyone. Wait, Jake Hansen got extended?
Did I totally miss this?
I didn't see this.
Hold on, let me go to Aaron's Twitter account because he's the only person in the universe that would care about this.
Oh, he'll have the details.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
Yeah, Texans extend linebacker Jake Hansen, the special team standout who had 10 tackles this season while playing 82% of the special team snaps. Since joining the team in 2022 at Illini football, Hansen has 75 career tackles, 2 sacks.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
So this makes it even funnier.
What are we doing?
Dude, but doesn't this make it even funnier, the fact that they tried to replace him with Nick Neiman this offseason for $4 million? And we were like, wait.
Oh, great point.
Don't they like Hansen? I thought Hansen was fine. And they tried to replace him for $4 million with Nick Neiman.
Oh, my God. You want me to go? Let me go behind the curtain for the people. Somebody said today on PR, we're in the locker room, we're going to go try to find Jake. I thought they meant Andrews. They were going to go try to find Hansen so Aaron could talk to him about his contract.
There's the deadline move. I'm going to quote tweet this and say, there's that deadline move. Making moves before the deadline. How far through Aaron's timeline do I have to go?
Well, the transaction hasn't come out yet, so not that far.
Let's see. Where the heck is it?
There you go. Just from like a timing perspective, you could have waited. The day after they get their, oh boy.
Who said Texans weren't gonna make moves before the deadline?
They've been trying to get this guy out of the organization for 2 years. They brought in special teams ace linebackers back-to-back years.
They brought in Nick Neiman. They brought in Nick Neiman for the same amount of money as Laken Tomlinson.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
And who was the guy with 2 names last year they had in?
Reese Mabin? That was before.
No, there was a Delshawn Phillips.
Oh, God.
They brought in Delshawn Phillips to try to get rid of Jake Hansen. He still made the team.
All right. Dom in Jersey says, aren't the McNairs embarrassed with the lack of home field advantage at NRG? What it's become. Places empty every week or filled with other fans. It's dog bleep. Lil Blue Band says, much rather see Cody rage than the Texans win. I don't know. I'd rather see the Texans win.
Who knew that the Broncos cared so much about Janice McNair?
Oh, you think they wanted for her?
Did the Walmart people do a video for her too, or was it just Jerry and the Vikings owner for some reason? I don't know.
MacDad84 says, from top to bottom, what do you think needs to be done to make the offense competitive next year? They need to get rid of the whole staff.
Buddy, I don't have a construction hat that's big enough for that.
And they need to hire
Hold on.
Josh McCown to oversee the offense.
Shut up. No, they don't.
Down with his Rolodex, his resume, and let him work with CJ and let Josh McCown cook. That's what they need to do to fix this offense. Let's get Josh McCown in here and let's roll. Dude, you look creepy.
Got my hard hat on. We're ready to fix the Texans. Hold on. How much time you got?
My goodness.
Got my hard hat on.
Good Lord.
Texas Tech hard hat, might I add.
God. Need all that says the season is over unless some magic happens and Mills might just give away 1 or 2 of these next 2 games. Draft time. No, they got to go 5-5. They got to go 5-5. We've laid that out from the jump. We had a tangible goal, 5-5. It's still attainable. Don't give up on Mills and the Texans.
It's just not going to feel like a real fun 5-5. Like neither of these next 2 teams you're playing are good. They've yet to beat a good team.
Hey, we said 5-5. We didn't say but.
I understand that, but I could still talk about the vibes of 5-5 when they get there.
Let's go to the third quarter. Texans defense.
Oh boy,
ready to roll immediately. They force a Denver punt, and then the Texans they get an 8-point lead on a. Oh wow! Jalen Knoll returns the ball past midfield. It's almost like you want to get the ball in that guy's hands. Jalen Knoll gives him a short field, 45-yard punt return. Then you get Xavier Hutchinson on a long gain. Then they decide, hey, Jalen Knoll, we don't want to throw you the ball. We want to throw you an obvious reverse. The Nico Collins was not enough. Nick Caley decided he was going to go with the Bobby Slowick reverse fetish.
Damn it, Bobby.
And he goes with the Nico Collins at the 2 and then the random Jalen Knoll. Then off the hands of Dalton Schultz, pretty high though. I will say not overly catchable, but the Texans settled for a field goal to go up 15-7. Defense in a rhythm. You had Derek Barnett absolutely hog tie the runner and throw him down. Then a 3rd and 15, no good to Harvey. Then the Texans back in 3-and-out territory. They end up punting. Then Denver, they punt. But I got to tell you this, that punter is an absolute dog, because I think this one went like 78 yards in the air directionally, and he just absolutely boomed his punt and completely flipped the field position.
Yeah, they went from their own 21 to the Texans taking over at the Texans 12.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds, which was very impressive. I was very impressed with Crawshaw, or whatever his name is. Crayshaw? I don't know. The interior PA guy's having a rough game.
Then Tommy Townsend with his best punt of the day. He had a 67 directional. Then just an absolute dissection by Denver. This is right before the fourth quarter. This was a gem of an offensive series by an offense that looked lost. Another bad punt by Tommy Townsend, 42 yards. Complete mismatch when it comes to the punters in this game. Troy Franklin moves the chains. Lassiter then punishes Franklin. But then at the start of the fourth quarter, the Texans had to use a timeout. They had to kill a timeout because they had too many men on the field on defense. Then Pat Bryant moves the chains right there down the middle of the field. Then 3rd and 1, they run a reverse. That moves the chains. And then, my God, RJ Harvey just completely leaves Henry To'oTo'o in the dust. He scores a touchdown, and they follow up with the 2-point conversion, and we have a tie ball game at the start of the fourth quarter.
That 12 men on the field was just
tough. It's tough.
That, like, man, come on. That's like they just finished the third quarter. Bo Nix throws an incomplete, and then you have too many guys on the field. Come on.
Then it gets really kind of bad because Davis Mills nearly throws an interception. Then they get a delay of game. Then they get an illegal shift, which Denver declines. Then on 3rd and 15, he misses Christian Kirk. And then all those Astros fans just get really loud. I don't know if they showed like Jeff Bagwell or Craig Biggio on the Jumbotron, but all the people wearing orange. I know they showed Akeem Olajuwon last week. I'm assuming that they showed Craig Biggio on the Jumbotron to start the fourth quarter. And all the people wearing Astros orange in the stands, they get just incredibly loud. Poor instincts, though, because it's probably not the time to get loud, but the Astros fans in orange get really loud at the start of the fourth quarter.
Lot of orange.
A lot of Astros fans. Then the Texans force another punt. Then the Broncos force another punt. Then you get a situation where Denver has the ball. Bo Nix misses multiple open receivers, doesn't even look their way. And then instead of running for the first down, he decides he's going to throw a sidearm pass, and it skips. And it felt like that was kind of the put up or shut up moment for the Texans where, all right, you got a chance. You forced another punt. It's time now, but they don't do anything. A pass batted down on 3rd and 3 means that the Texans got to pump back to Denver, which
was that the play where Davis Mills tried to throw it through 9 different people?
Yes. I think 8 guys tipped it.
What do we do with the pool noodles in practice if we're trying to throw it through 7 Broncos defenders?
I don't know. That one was a weird one. But Denver did not take advantage. Bo Nix tripped and fell on one, and he threw it away, and then another throwaway. And then with 1:14 left, this is where DeMeco Ryans and the Texans just completely wet the bed. They kill 14 seconds before they punt it back to the Denver Broncos. So they kill 14 seconds in 3 plays. That is hard to do. That is like really hard to do. But they did it, and they end up punting to the Broncos with 1 minute left. Just absolute incompetence by the Texans, and they end up paying for it. Bo Nix finally uses his legs when he has to, and it was a slow death after that. The Broncos kicked the field goal. They end up winning the ball game 18-15. Those are the landlocked key moments. Cody's got
that end of that last offensive possession for the Texans. Denver gets the ball back with 50 seconds and 2 timeouts. They don't even end up using both of those timeouts because they move down the field so quickly. But the explanation, the execution, and the idea all sucked.
Let's hear this.
All sucked. They all sucked.
Let's lay it out. Let's hear from DeMeco. I want you to present this, the post game and today's version. First, though, Wags on the chat says, I felt Cody's frustrations earlier. I think a lot of people did. And Buddy Jackson says, step one, fire Caserio and hire John Dorsey from Detroit. Okay.
Wouldn't hurt my feelings. So yesterday after the game, DeMeco Ryans asked about the final offensive possession. Listen to what he says is the plan.
Yeah, the thought there, we wanted to get some quick passes to get us movement. We're trying to drive down and, of course, try to get in field goal range. But to have a couple quick incompletions, it was not the plan at all for us.
Like the quick passes? Dude, you haven't had a first down on third down since the second quarter. You haven't really moved the football at all. And the plays that were called, Davis Mills tried to rip it to the sticks on first down. Like, that's not a short pass, in my opinion. Trying to get it to Christian Kirk on an out route at the sticks. Like, that's not a short pass. Then he throws it left to Jaden Higgins, the only target and reception for Jaden Higgins, and he runs out of bounds because the throw was so bad that he had to kind of go to the ground to catch it. And then they throw the ball, and of course it's incomplete. And Denver doesn't have to use a timeout, and they punt. And so that's what he said yesterday after the game. Sometimes coaches go back and they look at it, and maybe they, maybe they want to, change their mind. Maybe we should have done this. Nope, today.
No regrets. Look, we're trying to get in position to score, right? We tried to throw the ball, which had a couple quick options to throw the football, and then get the clock moving, get our 2-minute drive started. It didn't happen.
He's blind on offense, man. He's blind on offense. He's blind.
Like and I don't anticipate that they would have won the football game if they'd gone to overtime. I don't anticipate that. But there exists a margin of error that you create for the Broncos to make a mistake, and maybe you take advantage of it. And it at least gives you a full, potentially real possession to operate, or the possibility that a tie could happen also exists. But you can't minimize your opportunity to win or extend the game and then extend the margin of error for Denver in that operation. They should have ran the ball on first down, and if they get a great run, 10, 12 yards, maybe you want to try to do a little bit more, but that they could not throw the football in that situation. And if they did throw the football, they had to throw an easy, completable, stay in freaking bounds pass. But instead, Davis Mills went back there like he's freaking Patrick Mahomes and tried to rip it to the sticks to Christian Kirk, who's playing the worst football of his career. So it's either the head coach, this old cliche, you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. So you either told them to be aggressive, bad mistake, or you let them be aggressive, bad mistake. And then to grip it and rip it to the sticks on first down with the backup quarterback is so dumb. They're just such a dumb offense.
I mean, I think you just nailed it. I just think it was they showed it against San Francisco. There was just no consequence. They don't have a feel. DeMeco doesn't have a feel. Like I think there's a lot of times where he just goes up there. I don't think he really stands on anything outside of defensive football. I'm not questioning any like moral or the way he lives his life. I'm just saying, like, as far as like you caught him like kind of saying two different things today when talking about the goal line issues. And the goal line issues are something else that we talk about. But this is like when I say there's just not much substance when DeMeco talks offense, just look at this. These quotes are 5 minutes apart. Set it up for the people, Cody, so they understand.
Yeah, so I asked DeMeco Ryans. Well, the question asks itself here, but I wanted to know about the issues with the short yard.
What you guys have had on some of the short yardage plays, is there an adjustment, a change in the future with how you guys approach those so that you can maybe mitigate some of those issues?
I hope so. We're trying to convert them. So we have to do something different. Obviously, what we're doing, it hasn't worked. So we just got to find a different way.
I hope so. We're going to do something different. What we haven't done hasn't worked. Got to do it a different way. Okay? That's where he stood at the beginning of the press conference. In the middle, he got asked again about the goal line. And, hey, did you think about maybe throwing? So basically, a second guessing of how they operated at the goal line. Now listen to how he talks about it.
What is, right? We throw the ball on the goal line. We don't get in. Hey, you guys should run the ball more. We run the ball. We don't get in. Hey, you should throw. So there's always wish I would have what I would have done different. Look back at it, do it different. Look, I approach the game from a physical mindset of, hey, if you're on the 1 yard line and we got to knock somebody back to get in the end zone, that's how I approach it. And that's how I always approach it. And then when we do get in the end zone on the 4th down, we got a false start. So it's like we got in the end zone. CJ got in, but points are taken off the board because we have a false start. We're not locked in on the snap. So it's just so many things there that goes in. Yeah, there's a physical mindset. That's what this game is built on. You have to have that mindset, and you should want to be in those situations where, hey, we got to knock somebody off the ball to go get 1 yard. If you don't have that mindset, then you're probably not going to get in.
So we got to try something different. And then when he was asked about it a few minutes later, now we got to do the exact same thing. That hasn't worked. That hasn't worked. Landry, all the way back in January
on offense.
All the way back in January, I was promised by them at the podium that this offense would not be square peg, round hole. Those 5 guys that they have on the offensive line are not physical enough to do what he just said. And when you put them in that position, you are putting them in an unfavorable, unwinnable position for them, and that is square peg, round hole offense.
Did CJ get in on the QB sneak too?
I went and looked at it. It would have been debatable. I feel like they would have given it to him.
Okay. Well, a QB sneak got in.
Mm-hmm.
And they waited till 4th and they had there. All right, let me separate myself from the generalization. I just want to separate myself from the generalization because I try to be as fair as possible and judge what it is. Let me make this very simple. Okay? When you're on the 1 yard line, 1st down, QB sneak. 2nd down, QB sneak. 3rd down, QB sneak. 4th down, QB sneak. So that's it. I don't want you throwing. I don't want you handing it to anybody. QB sneak. Because assuming that CJ got in, they're perfect on QB sneaks outside of the one penalty that they've had. So it's very simple. This was said 2 weeks ago. I know DeMeco likes to generalize and say, well, they would have said that. No, I've been saying QB sneak for 2 weeks. They've ignored the QB sneak. It's been a perfect play. QB sneak, QB sneak, QB sneak. So I am separating myself from the generalization of second guessing on the 1 yard line. QB sneak. Even if Davis Mills at the 3, QB sneak. It's fine.
Also,
whatever.
Yeah, let's not pretend like the throws that you tried when you were at the goal line and you threw the ball were good throws or good plays. Like, come on. Like, it's just there's no – the headset has no feel for what the offense should be doing.
QB sneak, QB sneak, QB sneak, QB sneak. Not should have, would have. By the way, end of the first half last week, what are they doing? End of the first half this week, what are they doing while they caught a break? End of the second half this week, what the hell are they doing? It's not second guessing. It's not everybody is a simp. DeMeco is very selectively simple. He's very selectively simple when it benefits him, but when it doesn't, he's not. And that just kind of is what it is. Let's give some credit, though. Shout out to TDECU for sponsoring Reaction Monday. It is time for the TDECU where credit is due. Guys who deserve some credit for their performances that we might not be talking about enough.
Where credit is due in this one, I go with Dalton Schultz. Guts through the injury, plays really well, has that big reception that gets them deep in the Broncos territory, has a couple of other receptions. So Dalton Schultz getting the nod for where credit is due. DeMeco Autry doesn't play a lot, but does a lot with his little bit. Blocked another kick. Very good job by him. I think this is what they expected when they got him. And then I got Jalen Smith there for the fumble recovery on the muffed punt.
Okay. That's TDECU's where credit is due.
I'm sorry, is credit not due for him charging down the field and scooping the ball up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm so. Is credit not due there? I don't understand.
Oh, I'm fine with it.
Why would credit not be due to Jalen Smith?
No, for sure. Yeah. What?
I want you to explain it.
I would have given Jalen Noel credit for the punt return and for keeping his head up for the way he's treated, but it's okay.
Well, no, he lost 3 yards on his only offensive touch. How can I give him credit?
Oh my God. All right. You're part. All right, Nick Caley. Cody's
I've been infected. They bit me too.
Nick. Cody's context here on Reaction Monday. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you live 2:00, normally 4:00. Shout out to everyone for joining us in the chat. We are all in this together. It could be a lot worse than talking some good old football.
Jalen Noel, in the 2 games prior to the Denver matchup, he had 4 explosive receptions.
Oh, wow. That seems good.
4 explosive receptions. Christian Kirk has 1 explosive reception all season long.
Wow. Almost feels like that Noel guy should be playing a little bit.
Christian Kirk is currently averaging 9.6 yards a reception. That is a career low. It's the only time in his career he has not averaged more than 10 yards per reception. He's playing the worst football of his career. My final Cody's context is the offensive line allowed a quarterback pressure percentage of less than 30%, and they lost for the first time this season.
I did think Mills was kind of getting rid of the ball decently. Not always, but decently.
Yeah, I thought he had some moments where he got rid of it on seemingly on time. The passes weren't always great.
Thought he did a good job of that.
Yeah. He scrambled a little bit. I think there was a couple of scrambles or attempted scrambles.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. It's Cody's context. Let's hear from Jalen Noel. You want to hear from him? I thought he was alive. Yeah, he was alive in the locker room. And he was ready to talk. And I actually asked him about, like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, what's the deal? Here's what Jalen Noel had to say.
The overall frustration with this loss and where you go from here.
Yeah, it's a tough loss, obviously, against a good team, a team that we felt like we could go out there and win a game and kind of make a statement. But, I mean, when you're not on the details at all times, those things kind of happen. We kind of let them stay in the game all game. But, of course, that's a good team, and they're going to find ways to make plays. So we just have to be disciplined and make plays when our name are called.
Speaking of that, it seems like your name wasn't called as much on offense. Is it kind of frustrating to not be a part of it today?
I mean, you always want to contribute. You always want to make plays, and I feel like I can't make plays. But whatever the coaching staff feels like is best for the team, then I agree with them. And they're a great coaching staff, so whatever they want my role to be that day, I'm going to go with it.
Is there anything they're telling you that you need to do in order to consistently be out there?
No, I feel like Coach Ben does a great job at critiquing all his players and just holding us accountable and just making sure we're ready to go for the game. But on my end, I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong.
About on the returns, what happened on the long return?
Oh, yeah, it was just a great call by Coach Ross, just setting up a good field return for us, and then a great job by all my blockers out there, just getting me in a position to be able to scurry up the sideline. So kudos to my teammates.
What changed, if anything, for the plays you were out there for once Davis got in the game?
Oh, no, nothing changed. Same game plan. Just trying to go attack when we can, and just wasn't there.
What was the feeling when CJ went down?
Horrible, obviously. You lose our leader of the team and see him down on the ground like that. You don't want to see anybody hurt, especially not your quarterback. So just seeing him down there, it sucked, but I spoke to him. He seems fine, and so I'm happy he's okay.
Was it good even seeing him walk off?
Oh, yeah. It's always good to see a player walk off after something like that. It's always scary. Those head injuries, it's just we're lucky every time we step off the field healthy. So I'm just happy he was able to get up and get off the field.
All right, there you go. So the serious question, like why, what is it about Jalen Noel that has this offensive staff just not liking him? And really not even the offensive staff. Braxton Berrios is returning kicks. Like, Cody, I say this, and you might think it's dramatic. Like, let's say that Jalen Noel gets 3 opportunities to return a kick. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's a given, but there's a chance he could like make an explosive play that puts you in field goal range, and it completely changes this game. He did it on the punt return. So if he's going to play the second fewest amount of snaps, why would he not then be returning kicks? Like, do you really have to get Braxton Berrios back there? I do not understand the thought process in doing this. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't understand why he wouldn't play every special teams return snap. I don't get that. That makes no sense to me.
Whether he's playing offense or not, by the way, he's a young guy. He's in good shape.
If he doesn't know a part of the offense, don't run that part of the offense. He's the most explosive player you have on this team behind Nico Collins. If he doesn't know this portion of the playbook, don't run those plays. Run the plays that he does know. And they have not ever seemingly either told him or publicly explained that it's his fault he's not on the field. So they have maintained that it has been their decision-making that is keeping Jalen Noel off the field. That's been their public explanation of why Jalen Noel is not on the field more. Because he said it's nothing that I've been told I'm doing, and then they've maintained that they like what the rookies have been doing.
You've heard the song "Bad and Bougie" by Migos.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of old, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the #1 hit the last time Braxton Berrios was an All-Pro return man, 2017. Well, we go to 2021. 2021, you can pick any song, any like. There's. I don't even know any of these songs. Taylor Swift, "All Too Well" was the #1 hit song last time. Like, I keep hearing these notions that Braxton Berrios is like, well, he's an all-pro. Dude, it was 2021. It was 2017. That was 4 years ago. That was 8 years ago when he was an all. The rules aren't even the same. Like, they're not even returning the kicks the same. He stinks. He's not better than Jalen Noel. Like, Bad and Bougie came out the last time he was an all-pro. It doesn't make sense. Like,
by the way, the 2017 that you're referencing is third team all ACC.
Oh, okay. 2021 All-Pro NFL. Okay. I'm going back to all right. Third team All-Pro 2021.
No. Third team all ACC. It's less and less impressive the more we say it.
All right. 2021, he was an
All-Pro in 2021 returner.
Right.
Yes.
It was different rules. What I'm making is it just I don't understand why you would ever want in a certain situation for Braxton Berrios to touch a football instead of Jalen Noel. Especially when it's not like a thought thing, but like, why? What do they not like about him? What's so hard for DeMeco to come out and say? Because they have to be telling him something, right?
I mean, he had a bad.
Do they just prefer vets this much?
He had. I mean, here's the only other piece of evidence that we haven't discussed. He did not do a good job blocking on the Nico Collins screen.
Okay.
And I suppose they could have punished him for that.
Okay. Like,
I'm not, by the way, I'm not co-signing that if that's what happened. I'm just explaining it.
get over it. Like, get over it and let the guy go make some plays because you need it. And I would rather go through the growing pains of Jalen Noel figuring it out than Jaden Higgins. But like in DeMeco's world, and we know DeMeco's world's a dangerous place. He overthinks things, doesn't have the answers on offense. But like in DeMeco's world or Nick Caley's world, if they're doing everything you expect from them, y'all are incompetent. If a guy who you selected 79 overall, a year after you selected a guy 78 overall, and he immediately started and contributed for you, and you selected a guy this year at wide receiver at 34 overall, a year after you selected a cornerback at 42 overall, and he's arguably playing the best corner that the Texans have right now, and he started immediately. If that's what you expect from them, y'all are incompetent. Y'all don't know how to use resources, and y'all don't know how to develop guys. I know DeMeco says it's apples to apples. It's not. It's a complete reflection of the gap between offense and defense, which is what's holding you back. Because I honestly don't think this is the best way I can say this while giving DeMeco a compliment on top of the clear question that you have of him. I think if you had the defensive version of Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel under DeMeco's watch, I think they'd be making plays.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any doubt in my mind, regardless of what their flaws are, regardless of what they may or may not know. I think if you gave the defensive version of these two guys compared to what the offense has to work with right now in front of them, I think they would be thriving under DeMeco Ryans. And that's his biggest problem right now. That's what he's got to figure out.
It's
pathetic.
It's inexplicable that they can't find ways to put those players on the field. It's not like I'm advocating, like this is not 2021 when I wanted to see what, whatever his name was from Ole Miss from the practice squad, like some unknown, like we've watched these guys be good football players already this season and they won't put them on the field. Scotty Pierce, was that the guy's name? Something Pierce 2021.
The JC-inator says they left takeoff off Bad and Bougie like they didn't know this offense. Does it look like I got left off Bad and Bougie? Yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. It's a big problem for them. On the super chat here on Reaction Monday.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Wags says, can I say this? You can say anything, Wags. This team should be completely reevaluated in the offseason. GM down. I like DeMeco, but clearly Caley is lost and the offense is lost. Yes, and I think DeMeco might be lost on offense too. I think it's very possible. Ryan Burnett, 8251, says, you guys feel O-line improved even slightly? Yes. I also think that the offensive line is not put in position to win. I don't think they're asked to do what they should be asked to do. I don't think there's any grasp of it or any feel of it. And I do wonder if that Cam Robinson trade is going to come back to bite them eventually too, where they might need another tackle now. Titus Howard's out. Okay, we'll see how Blake Fisher.
Oh, Trent Brown be on the active roster. Princess Bride voice.
Will anyone else like? What if they need a backup tackle? They traded Deculus and Cam Robinson. Will that come back to bite you? I don't know.
Oh, Trent Brown. He's going to be active on Sunday.
No, he won't.
Oh, so they're going to have the other guy who's never played tackle in the NFL be active?
Yes.
We have the guy that none of us have ever heard of and it hasn't played in the NFL, basically.
Why would he not be active if he could be active? Why would Trent Brown not be active?
I'm confused at your question.
I'm asking, why hasn't he been active all season?
Because Blake Fisher's the backup tackle.
So you only need one backup tackle?
That's what they do on game day. They only carry one backup tackle to game day.
See, I heard that they never mind. Wags
No. Finish it. Don't deny the people.
Wag says DeMeco is a vet guy. He is not confident in the rooks. I already whiffed on the Braxton Berrios, so I'm going to move on. I heard they plan on having Trent Brown active, but he walks to the field from the locker room and is too tired, so they have to make him inactive.
Come on.
Trey Calhoun, 7991 says, "What's more likely, a functioning Texans offense or pronouncing Fairbairn?"
I think if I worked hard enough, I could get Kaimi's name. I don't think if they worked hard enough, they could figure it out the way they're going right now.
Yeah, there's too many problems. Like it's coaching, it's evaluating, it's putting guys in position to succeed. It's all that. So I think it's a lot of things. It's not just one thing. Speaking of which, I wonder how Cody's going to do here. I kind of thought he did a bad job on the TDECU where credit is due. Jalen Smith. Okay. But let's see if he does a better job here on the Texans turf, King of the Turf. By the way, shout out to Texans turf. Dan the man got my home looking nice. It was a frustrating process shopping for turf, but Dan came through and my home looks great. So shout out to my guy, Dan the man, for doing what he did. He can do the same for you. Go to texansturf.com. No job too big, no job too small. He's got you covered. Go ahead.
Kamari Lassiter played really well in this one. Had a couple of passes batted down. And Nico Collins, 75.
Put just half of Nico Collins' picture up there.
Oh, because he didn't get a catch in the second half?
Yeah, could you just put like a half of Nico Collins?
Well, it's not his fault that they didn't figure out they had one of the most explosive and dynamic wide receivers in football and couldn't get him the football.
Patrick Surtain's not out there. It felt like they understood that early on, and then in the second half, they're just like, and also you can throw it quick to him. Like I kind of thought that was a given. Kind of help your offensive line if you can't run the ball, throw it quickly to Nico Collins. But
here's how the 15 second half targets shook out: 4 to Christian Kirk, 4 to Dalton Schultz, 2 to Xavier Hutchinson, 2 to Nico Collins, 1 to Dare Gumbawale, 1 to Jaden Higgins, and 1 to Woody Marks.
Not great.
Nope. But Nico, thank you for your first half contribution. That makes you a king of the turf.
Yeah. There you go.
I didn't really have a lot to work with.
Yeah, I get it.
What was I going to put the spin cycle on there?
I get it. 320 says, does Stingley have a slipping problem? Did he slip yesterday or did he just get beat?
I mean, it looked to me like he got beat, and maybe there was a hesitation.
Like everyone was slipping in Seattle.
Maybe there was a hesitation on when he decided to turn the Jets on to try to catch him.
Okay. Didn't notice that. But yeah, those are the Texans turf, Kings of the turf. So let's get through some of the key moments of the game. We already got through the key moments, but the key questions that kind of emerge. And this is one that I'm going to ask, and I already know you are going to be very mean on the chat. Is there any hope for Nick Caley at this point?
Mean on the chat. You're going to be mean over here on this side of the screen.
It's crazy because when we talk about this team, we try to lay out, it's a fluid process. Like we try to lead up to the game. We try to react to the game. We try to look forward with a healthy dose of looking back. We try to ask the questions that matter. And the number one fear I had last week was I don't trust this guy with the rotation. And he fucked it up. Excuse my language, but he did. And it's even, and the problem is, it's always even worse than I think that it's going to be. Like, I did not anticipate that Jalen Noel was just going to be can't even play at all.
Second lowest snaps all season long on offense for Noel.
Yes, and not be a kick returner and all that. I didn't know that Higgins was going to have one target. I didn't know that Christian Kirk was going to be this massive part. Like, they are so into vets. It's crazy. Like, they are so into vets that it is insane. And it's just the weirdest thing about it is it's not how DeMeco functions as a defensive coach. That's what's frustrating. Like if DeMeco were like this, then I would be able to make some sense of it. Like everybody says, I keep hearing people say, DeMeco needs to go oversee Nick Caley and blah, blah, blah. I don't know that he's capable. You know what DeMeco needs to do? He needs to do what Todd Bowles has done. He needs to do what Andy Reid has done. He needs to do what Gary Kubiak was eventually able to do for a little bit.
Forced to do.
Forced. But he needs to find someone that he trusts on the other side of the ball that's actually competent. And this is much deeper than first-time play caller and all that. He needs to do it. I'm a Josh McCown guy. I want Josh McCown. Josh McCown has a lot of connections. He can bring in a new coaching staff. He can work with the quarterback. That's what I want. That's it. I don't care about this like experience or not. But that's what DeMeco needs to do. DeMeco needs to make it where he can trust someone on that side of the ball. What they've done is they've brought in the equivalent of Bill O'Brien, the equivalent of all these idiots in New England who don't know what they're doing whenever they call plays outside of Tom Brady. That's what they've done. Like, that's what Nick Caley is. Nick Caley is a Patriot way failure. That's what he is. That's what he's been. Is that what he's going to be down the line? I don't want to sit here and like pigeonhole him and say there's no chance, because we were feeling pretty good about Bobby Slowick 1 year through, but he has all of the negative qualities that New England guys have. We've seen this before. This isn't new. Like, if this were something new, then maybe I'd be a little bit patient for it. This is the same crap we saw with O'Brien. So that's the problem here. And every time that we sit here and we say, oh my gosh, they got some momentum going, there's always the yeah, but. And the yeah, but it basically gets the butt gets a Brazilian butt lift every time we watch them play a good team, because with against good teams they're fearful. See the QB sneak. They're gutless. See the way they rotate. I have no hope for Nick Caley. I would love to be wrong. I have zero hope for Nick Caley at this point. And throw away that damn hat too. I don't want to see that hat this week, please.
The scariest part is if he cobbles it together like patchwork enough to convince people in the building to keep him. And then you got to go through a second year with him, because that's not going to get any better. There's no evolution here, and there's no understanding of modern football. Again, I say to you, it is not that hard to play offense in the National Football League. In the noon slate yesterday, one team scored less points than the Houston Texans did. That was the Green Bay Packers. You know what they did that the Texans didn't do? Scored a touchdown in the red zone.
The other thing is, it's not just as simple as the offensive line, because the Chargers had their second starting offensive tackle get carted off yesterday. Like, they've had 2 first-round offensive tackles, really good ones, get carted off. I think they're back down to their 7th and 8th offensive tackle, and they still have a functioning offense. So it's not just one problem, which brings me to the next question. Is the problem deeper than the OC? I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is absolutely yes. And that's where DeMeco is going to have to figure it out. And you mentioned the word evolution. Like, DeMeco talks about evolving and all that type of stuff. Has he really evolved? Because the players have changed, the coaches have changed, and the offense looks the same. The gap is just as big. The gap is just as big.
The gap is larger.
The gap is larger. So that's really like DeMeco and Caserio. They're going to have a coming to Jesus meeting. And maybe it's as simple as saying bye-bye to Caserio. But after this season ends, spoiler alert, they're not going to make some sort of run. Not with the way that they call offense. Maybe they can make the playoffs. We'll see. 5-5 again is what we're keeping our eyes on.
Hold on. There's a clip for that.
We're in here talking about practice.
No.
Right now, we can't talk about playoffs until we play football better.
Can't talk about playoffs till they play football better.
Okay.
Not my rule. Coach's rule.
Playoffs?
I hadn't touched that in a while. It's been kind of a normal thing. But yeah, DeMeco's going to have to he's going to have to look at himself in the mirror and figure something out. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Well, he's got a lot of figuring out that needs to happen.
I think we've already touched on the Knoll thing. We don't really have to get into that.
I'm happy to rehash it if you'd like.
Go ahead if you want to. I've said all I need to say about it.
Jalen Noel had 1 touch in this football game on 11 offensive snaps played. Prior to this game, he had 4 explosive receiving plays in the previous 2 games. Christian Kirk has had 1 all season long. Mind you, that came in a blowout victory over the Baltimore Ravens late in the game. Christian Kirk's 9.6 yards of reception are a career low for him. He's playing the worst football of his career, but yet he outsnaps Jalen Noel. He doesn't return punts, or he doesn't return kicks anymore, despite being dynamic with the football in his hands. Yada, yada, yada. They have not explained that it's his fault he's not on the field. He said he has not been told it's his fault. So they're clearly making a choice to not put him on the field.
And why would DeMeco not just come out and say, this is my biggest thing. Why would he not just come out and say, look, we like Jalen Noel as a player. We think he's going to be really, really good for us. Right now, he's just not blocking, and he's not, we can't depend on him to be where he's supposed to be. I have confidence eventually he's going to figure it out. But if I'm going to put guys out there, I need to know that they're going to know where to be and they're going to know how to block, assuming that's the problem. Or we can take them at their word, and this is like exactly what they expect, and they like the progression. Because I would hope that if there's something going on like behind the scenes, they would say, this is the like, tell him what the problem is. But like, when you say that to him, if you are saying that, and then you come out and say, well, we love his progression, what's the point? I think these guys are pretty mature. Like, I think Matt Campbell would come out and say it. I think Matt Campbell of Iowa State would come out and say, look, we love Jalen. There's few, assuming this is, again, we're assuming because there has to be something, but assuming that's what they're telling him behind the scenes, I think Matt Campbell would come out and say, we like him. We love him as a player. We need to know that he's going to be in the right spot. And we need to know that he's going to be able to be an every down guy. We're confident he can get there, but right now he's just not there. And until we see that, we're not going to be able to put him out there the largest majority of the snaps. I don't think Jalen Noel would like go cry to DeMeco. I think it might actually motivate him.
Yeah, because if it's the truth, they've had that conversation with him.
It's not embarrassing him. Like, this goes back to like the overthinking. Now, maybe they just don't think anything's wrong and this is normal for them. But like, if that's the case, it would make a lot more sense. Because it's weird to to say everything's cool with a guy that you drafted when he did that's made plays like this and just say it's straight. That's what I don't understand with the manner in which this is discussed.
Jalen has explained he's not been told that he's doing something wrong. Unless Jalen Noel's lying to us. Like, that's, I guess, a possibility. I don't know why he would, but.
Well, because they're so weird, and maybe it just like bleeds into the players now.
So we rehashed the Jalen Noel thing. Yep.
All right, on the chat. It's just wild. We'll hear what Caley says.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Life of Lou 787 says Texans are the only team with a negative record but positive point differential. If Caley gets canned halfway, who are we putting in there? They're not going to can him. But who would they put in? I don't know. Probably someone who probably shouldn't be on the staff. Samson says, great show today, fellas. I'm frustrated and upset as much as anyone. Still ride or die with H-Town. Could be worse. We could be the Titans. Look, and that brings me to this next thing. As we go glass half full, glass half empty. You still got the 5-5 in front of you, man. You still got the 5-5. You're favored to win the next 2 games. So you get to that 5-5, you give yourself a little bit of a puncher's chance. That's what we laid out before. They weren't able to get greedy and make it even better, but the 5-5 is still there, Cody. And oh, by the way, you still have a really good defense.
Oh, you've got an excellent defense. One of the NFL. It's fantastic. It's just, if they don't score, they're probably going to lose the football game every time they go out there. It's just, yeah, the 5 and like they're going to get to 5-5. I fully believe that. I fully believe they're going to get to 5-5.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Well, that'll be fun then.
It's going to be a very hollow 5-5, but they're going to get to 5-5. And then the Buffalo Bills are going to come to town.
Hey, DeMeco owns Josh Allen.
we're going to spend 3 days talking about what happened last year. And then Josh Allen's going to kick the living crap out of them.
All right, come on. Let's just crawl before we walk.
And then they're going to be 5-6.
We'll keep an eye on Titus Howard and CJ Stroud. DeMeco Ryan said that they're both in protocol. Didn't have much more to offer than that.
Can they use Trent Brown as the jumbo?
They cannot.
Why can't they?
They cannot. Can they win the next two with Mills? Cody thinks they will. And I'll say this. There's no excuses for them not to. Because 2 of their 3 wins have come against backup quarterbacks. I don't want to hear anything from them about this. 2 of their 3 wins have come against backup quarterbacks. So go out there and figure something out. I think they got a chance. Tomorrow's the deadline. Will the Texans make a trade? My guess is going to be no. But you never know with these guys. They might make a crazy trade. They might trade for a long snapper. You never know.
Probably something stupid, just make us all mad. They might trade for another veteran that they can play in front of the rookies. Maybe they'll get Jacoby Myers because he used to play for the Patriots.
Jehuva07 says, good seeing you fellas at Spanky's. Surprise Landry remembered me and bought me a drink. Big fan. Keep asking those tough questions. Appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you. I remember everything. I got a photographic memory. You can ask dudes. I remember everything.
Well, not everything.
What's the last thing I forgot?
You forgot that I bought you your NFL logo hat.
I did do that. I was probably drunk at the time, if we're being honest. It was kind of that phase. But anyway, we appreciate everyone for rolling through. Texans Collective tonight at 6. Shout out to TDECU for sponsoring Reaction Monday, the greatness that is TDECU. We love y'all very much. TDECU.org/Texans to get that nice Texans debit card, membership required, insured by NCUA. Texans Collective. If you haven't subscribed to that, do so in the description. Sean Pendergast, Reginald. I haven't heard what they've had to say today, so I'll be interested to hear their thoughts on this Broncos game. Spoiler alert, I think Sean might be mad at Nick Caley. I'm not positive, but I think he might be bad at Nick Caley.
I think he's also pretty upset with how they operate at the end of the second half.
Yeah, I would say that's probably accurate. We will play off of it. I will throw the suit on. In the meantime, subscribe, like, ride along. Always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.